Hello and welcome to another training session of plumbing, and on this session I'm going to be showing you how to rewash your tap. Okay, so let's start off by discussing some of the basics. I've arrived at the property, looking professional again, polished shoes, greeted the customer very politely, and I've explained the work that is required. Okay, I've warned her the water's going to be off and how long it's going to be off for. So they might have an ice machine, dialysis machine. So I began to look at the job, and as you can see, there's a few things here that's quite interesting. You got weatherboarding here, which is excellent because it's durable, it's maintenance free. There's no risk of mould or grouting issues there. Excellent. The customer here has a combination boiler, which is superb, very efficient, great for Part L regulation. The only other thing is, for those level 3 learners, there's a bit of a backflow issue here, isn't there? There's no retaining clip on the rail. So if this tenant or owner is having a bath and this shower falls in, there's a risk of backflow there. Prior to beginning the job, always check for damage. Because if you're young, you're learning, or you're doing DIY, you're in business, you don't want to take any risks. The first thing you need to do is check for damages. If you see anything, just put it out to the customer or get them to sign something. The next thing, put dust sheets down. I've got plenty down here. Just some old rag. The other thing, take all jewellery off as well, because if you're working, this can damage the sanitary wear. And I always wear these dungarees because they've got no belt on, and they can also damage the surface. I'm going to put that just there. I'm going to put the plug in, because obviously if you don't do this and something falls down the plug, you'll have to take all the bath panel off, and before you know it, you could be there hours. So I'm just going to put the plug in. Taps have to conform to the British standard 1010. The quality of your workmanship has to conform to BS 8000. So let's just start off by talking about this tap. This tap is a capstan head, cross top. It's chrome. I'll refer to this tap as a deck mixer because there's 2 holes required for the installation of it. I do have another example. This is a monoblock tap and requires 1 hole in the sanitary wear. This tap is also good for elderly people or people with poor grip because it lifts up and moves down quite easily. Okay, very, very good tap. These are very durable. In these taps, they don't have any washers in. They've got ceramic discs. That's something else we'll discuss later. Put that down. To conform with current regulations, you could try fitting a water-saving tap. Obviously see these in factories and warehouses and restaurants. Due to the new regulations under Part G, you'll notice they're now stipulating on new houses that all bath installations have to have a temperature mixing valve on. So a tap like this, for example, underneath, you should have a mixing valve on. So showers should be regulated to 38 degrees, bath taps 48 degrees, and schools should be 43 degrees. Should you do any work commissioning a temperature mixing valve, always make a note of what you've done, just to cover yourself. So get your invoice out, write down what the temperature was. Okay, so I'm going to begin. This is a rising tap, so when you turn the tap on and off, the spindle rises. So before I begin, I'm going to give you another DIY tip. This mechanism is pretty similar to most taps, stop taps. It has a packing gland, and so do most radiator valves. So I'm going to start off by teaching you a little maintenance trick. This is a packing gland, so it enables the tap to turn on and off without leaking from the spindle. So should it leak, you can tighten it up more, or you get some PTFE, fold it in half, and thread it on your knee, and simply place it around and tighten it up. And that is creating a seal. It's vital that when you work on appliances, especially chrome, you always use spanners. If you use grips, you will damage it with the teeth. So this tap is very authentic looking, and it is actually very old fashioned. You can see the 3/4 inch tap washer, the sealing O-ring, if you look at the wall, I've done a more detailed drawing, a brass jumper which the washer sits on, and the seating for the washer to create the seal. Too many people make the mistake of rewashing the tap, and that doesn't solve the issue. They're not overhauling it. What that means, if you've replaced the washer and it still drips, the seating is worn and damaged. You can have a crack on the base. So I've got two examples of that for you. This is an example of a tap with a damaged seating. Taps are made of brass, which is an alloy, which has a chemical breakdown, and this is seating that I've actually cleaned up using a tap reseating tool. You can see it shining there, it's really good, isn't it? On the back of this tap we have putty. Putty is something they used to use years ago, and it is oil based. Oil-based compounds are very dangerous. They corrode plastic, they expand, and they make it extremely difficult to remove items. So always be cautious about that. Okay? So now I'm going to do a demonstration on how to re-washer and how to reseat a tap. So a reseating tool comes with various items. It comes with a thread, a universal thread, that can sit into most taps. It comes with a shaft to hold the circular file, which is a reseating tool. It screws in. Like so. Usually these have a plastic handle on, so you can push down and you can turn. For mine, I took the handle off so I can use my drill. Get the drill on it. The tap that I've taken out, the rising spindle one, consists of a basic rising spindle inside. All you can do with that is apply some lubrication. Should you have some taps that are really hard to lubricate or file clean, you can always put a descaling chemical on. Dip them in some hot water. Whenever you put the bath tap together like so, always be cautious, because I've just filed the seating down and that's got loads of files in. So obviously if I was to shut this down now, it's going to create a lot of dirt to sit on the new washer that you just fitted on. So always tighten the tap on, and as you're tightening it on, keep the tap open so you're protecting the washer. And then you turn the tap on briefly, make sure the plug is out again and there's nothing in the basin or the bath. When you turn the water on, the water will come out looking like so. Brown, with files. Okay? If you don't flush it out, you can have a major issue, damaging the seating, damaging the washer, Or that could get in someone's toothbrush or mouth. Okay. For one more type of tap that I haven't covered is the non-rising spindle, which is one here. So the non-rising spindle has a spindle inside, but it has a hexagon nut. As you can see, it's a hexagon shape. Line scale in a temporary hard area, the calcium carbonates attack the brass and coat it. That then makes it thicker and causes the tap to jam. So now what I'm going to do is file it. I'm going to file it on all the sides until I can see it go yellow, revealing the new surface of the brass. Also around the O-ring, which keeps the spindle stable and accurate in its momentum, just get some sandpaper or a file again and just clean both sides of that brass. Apply some lubrication to both the hexagon side and the thread. If you look at the top of the spindle, it has a screw on. Some tap handles have screws on where you can lift the cover, some just pull off, or some might have a screw on the side. This has a screw on the top. So, if I can just... that should work freely now. The brass has all gone yellow, well got back to the original surface. It's lubricated, so that should now move up and down freely. So I've turned the water on briefly, I've blasted out the brass, tightening up. I'm going to turn the water back on. Like I mentioned in previous videos, always inform the customer of the work you've done, because the more knowledge you show, the more trust and professionalism you're displaying. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed that little training video. There's going to be plenty more posting on by me weekly. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much.